Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English Learning Hub. I'm Jack.
And I'm Amy. How are you doing today, Jack?
I'm doing great, thanks. Actually, that's a perfect start for today's topic, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Today we're going to learn how to talk about yourself in English. This is so important, right?
Absolutely. When you meet new people, go to a job interview, or make friends, you need to introduce yourself and talk about who you are.
Exactly. And many English learners feel nervous about this. They don't know what to say or how to say it naturally.
That's true. So, Amy, let's start with the basics. How do you introduce yourself when you meet someone for the first time?
Well, the most common way is simple. You say, "Hi, I'm Amy," or "Hello, my name is Amy." Nothing too complicated.
Right. And in casual situations, people usually just say I'm instead of my name is. It sounds more friendly and relaxed.
Good point. So if I'm at a party, I might say, "Hi, I'm Amy. Nice to meet you." What about you, Jack? How do you introduce yourself?
I usually say something like, "Hey, I'm Jack, how's it going?" The key is to sound natural and friendly.
I like that. Now, after you say your name, what comes next? You can't just stop there, right?
Ha! No, you can't just say your name and stare at them. Usually people ask questions to continue the conversation.
Yes, like where are you from or what do you do? These are super common questions.
Let's practice answering these. Amy, where are you from?
I'm from Canada. I'm from Toronto, actually. It's a big city in the east of the country. What about you?
I'm from the UK, from a small town near London. See how we gave a little extra information? That makes the conversation more interesting.
Exactly. Don't just say I'm from Canada and stop. Add something more. You could say I'm from Canada. It's very cold in winter, or something like that.
That's a great tip. Now let's talk about jobs and studies. This is usually the next question people ask.
Right? Someone might ask, "What do you do?" This means, "What's your job?" It's a very common question.
And you can answer in different ways. For example, I'm a teacher, or I work as a nurse, or I work in marketing.
Yes, if you're a student, you can say, "I'm a student," or "I'm studying engineering at university." It's important to be specific.
Good point. And if you don't have a job right now, you can say, I'm looking for a job at the moment, or I'm between jobs right now.
That sounds natural. What if someone asks more details about your job? Like, what exactly do you do?
Then you explain your responsibilities. For example, I could say, I'm a podcast host. I create educational content and talk about different topics in English.
Nice. I could say, "I'm a language teacher. I help students improve their English speaking skills." See, we're describing what we actually do every day.
Perfect example. Now let's move on to talking about your hobbies and interests. This is really important for making friends.
Oh, yes. People love talking about hobbies. It helps you find common interests with others.
So how do you talk about your hobbies? You can start with, in my free time I like to, or I enjoy, or I love.
Right. For example, in my free time, I like to read books, or I enjoy playing tennis on weekends.
Exactly. Amy, what are your hobbies? Let's give our listeners some real examples.
Well, I love cooking. I enjoy trying new recipes from different countries. I also like hiking in the mountains when the weather is nice.
Those sound great. I'm really into photography. I love taking pictures of nature and street life. I also enjoy playing guitar, but I'm not very good yet.
Hey, that's honest. It's okay to say you're not an expert. You can say things like, "I'm learning to," or "I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it."
Yes, being honest makes you sound more real and friendly. Nobody's perfect at everything,
So true. Now let's talk about family. This is another common topic when you're introducing yourself or getting to know someone.
right? But remember, you don't have to share too much personal information if you don't want to. Just the basics are fine.
Good point. You can say simple things like, "I have two brothers," or "I'm an only child," or "I live with my parents."
And if you're married, you can say, I'm married and I have two kids, or I'm single at the moment.
Yes. What about pets? Many people love talking about their pets.
Oh, definitely. You can say, I have a dog named Max, or I have two cats. They're so funny.
Cute. Talking about pets is a great way to connect with people. Everyone loves animal stories.
Absolutely. Now let's discuss how to talk about your personality. This is a bit more advanced, but really useful.
Yes, you can describe yourself using adjectives. For example, "I'm a friendly person," or I'm quite shy when I first meet people.
Right, some common personality adjectives are outgoing, quiet, creative, organized, easygoing, hardworking.
Those are great. So you could say, I'm quite outgoing, I love meeting new people, or I'm a bit quiet, but I'm a good listener.
Exactly. You can also talk about your strengths and weaknesses. For example, I'm good at problem solving, or I'm not very good with numbers.
That's useful, especially in job interviews. Speaking of which, let's talk about goals and dreams.
Good idea. When talking about future plans, you can use phrases like I want to, or I hope to, or my goal is to.
For example, I want to travel around Europe next year, or I hope to start my own business someday.
Nice. You can also say, I'm planning to, when you have more concrete plans. Like I'm planning to move to a new apartment next month.
Good distinction. Now, Jack, let's talk about something important. How much information should you share?
That's a really important question. It depends on the situation. In a casual conversation, keep it light and friendly.
Right? You don't want to share too much personal information with someone you just met. Keep it general and positive.
Exactly. But in a job interview, you should be more professional and focus on your skills, experience, and why you're a good fit for the job.
Good point. The context really matters. Let's practice some different scenarios now.
Great idea. Let's start with a casual situation. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you meet someone. How would you introduce yourself?
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Amy. I love this coffee shop. Do you come here often?
Nice and natural. Hey, I'm Jack. Yeah, I come here every weekend. Their coffee is amazing, right?
See how we kept it simple and friendly. We talked about the coffee shop, which is something we have in common.
Exactly. Now let's try a more formal situation. Imagine you're at a business networking event.
Okay, this would be more formal. Hello, I'm Amy Chen. I work in digital marketing. What about you? What do you do?
Perfect. Nice to meet you, Amy. I'm Jack Wilson. I'm a project manager at a tech company. How long have you been in marketing?
Great. Notice how we used full names and talked about our jobs first. That's more appropriate for business situations.
Right? And we can continue asking professional questions about work experience and career interests.
Now let's give our listeners some useful phrases they can use. Jack, what phrases do you recommend?
Good question. Here are some useful ones. Tell me about yourself is a common request. You can answer with, well, let me see, or where should I start?
Yes, and if someone asks about your background, you can say, originally I'm from, or I grew up in.
Right. For education, you can say, I studied at university, or I have a degree in, or I graduated from.
Those are helpful. What about talking about experiences? That's important too.
You can say, I've worked in for 5 years, or I have experience in, or I used to work as.
Good ones. And for hobbies, don't forget phrases like, I'm passionate about, or I'm really into. These sound very natural.
Absolutely. I'm really into photography sounds much more natural than I like photography in casual conversation.
Exactly. Now let's talk about some common mistakes that learners make when talking about themselves.
Oh, this is important. One big mistake is giving too much information too quickly. It can overwhelm the other person.
Yes, keep your answers concise. Answer the question, add a little detail, and then let the other person speak.
Right. Another mistake is being too modest or too negative. Don't say things like, I'm not good at anything, or I'm boring.
Good point. Be confident but not arrogant. Find a balance. It's okay to talk about your achievements.
Exactly. Also, avoid speaking in a monotone voice. Show enthusiasm. If you're talking about something you love, let your excitement show.
That's so important. Your tone and energy make a big difference. People want to talk to someone who seems interested and interesting.
Another tip, make eye contact and smile. Body language is part of communication too, even though we're focusing on words today.
Very true. Now let's practice putting it all together. I'll introduce myself completely, and then you do the same, Jack.
Sounds good. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, hi, I'm Amy. I'm from Canada, but I've been living in London for 3 years now. I work as an English teacher, and I really enjoy helping students improve their speaking skills. In my free time, I love cooking and trying recipes from different cultures. I also enjoy hiking when I get the chance. I'm quite outgoing, and I love meeting new people. Right now, I'm planning to write a cookbook someday. That's my dream project.
That was perfect. You covered all the important points naturally. Okay, my turn.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Jack. I grew up in a small town near London, but now I live in the city. I work as a podcast host and content creator, which is really exciting because I get to talk about topics I'm passionate about. I studied communications at university. In my spare time, I'm really into photography and playing guitar, though I'm still learning. I'd say I'm pretty easygoing and creative. My goal is to travel more and take photos in different countries. That's something I really want to do in the next few years.
Excellent. See how we both shared interesting information without overwhelming anyone? We talked about background, work, hobbies, personality, and goals.
Exactly, and we sounded natural and enthusiastic. That's the key.
Now, listeners, it's your turn to practice. Try introducing yourself in English. Cover these main points: name, where you're from, what you do, your hobbies, and maybe a future goal.
Yes, practice in front of a mirror or record yourself. Listen back and see how you sound. Are you clear? Do you sound confident and friendly?
Great advice. You can also practice with friends or language exchange partners. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. Remember, everyone feels nervous when speaking a new language, but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
So true. Don't worry about making mistakes. Native speakers make mistakes too. The important thing is to communicate clearly and confidently.
Right! Before we finish, let's quickly review the main points from today's episode.
Good idea. First, start with a simple introduction, your name and a friendly greeting.
Second, be ready to talk about where you're from and what you do for work or study.
Third, share your hobbies and interests. This helps you connect with others.
Fourth, you can describe your personality using adjectives, but keep it positive and honest.
Fifth, talk about your goals and dreams if the conversation goes that way.
And finally, remember to adjust what you share based on the situation. Casual with friends, more formal in professional settings.
Perfect summary. Also, remember to be enthusiastic, make eye contact, and don't share too much too quickly.
Great points. So listeners, your homework is to prepare your own self-introduction. Write it down first if that helps.
Yes, include all the elements we discussed: name, background, job or studies, hobbies, personality, and maybe a goal for the future.
And then practice saying it out loud until it feels natural. You can even share it with us on social media.
We'd love to hear your introductions. Remember, learning a language takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself.
Absolutely. Every conversation is an opportunity to improve. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Well, that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to English Learning Hub.
Thanks, everyone. Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.